China is building a doomsday torpedo which can create nuclear tsunamis, and it could literally wipe out entire countries. Today, China unveiled in a military parade a new prototype of a torpedo, which appears to be based on the Russian torpedo called Poseidon. If you don't know, Russia's Poseidon torpedo, which this Chinese one appears to be based on, is such a powerful torpedo that it can generate tsunami waves up to 2 kilometers tall. And in short, that could literally sink the UK and put the entire country underwater. But something worth knowing, according to at least some reports, these new Chinese torpedoes are nuclear powered, which would create a nuclear radioactive tsunami, which would be a whole lot more damaging than just the normal one. Of course, at the moment, we don't really have loads more information on these, but it's really weird to think that something just 20 meters long could cause so much damage. Now, if I'm being honest, this is probably the last we'll ever hear of these Chinese nuclear torpedoes. It seems China just unveiled them to send a message, but it certainly worked. That message was definitely delivered. To be fair, a lot of people are talking about this, and if we're honest, it seems like this could be possibly the most dangerous weapon that's ever been created. All we can do is just hope that they don't ever use it, because that wave is a little bit too big to surf. But as usual, you can leave me a follow for some more global news like this.
China has showed off its military might to the world with a parade to mark the 80th anniversary since the defeat of Imperial Japan and the end of World War II. It began with an 80-gun salute to mark each year since the end of the war. Among those watching on from Tiananmen Square, Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un. It's the first time the three leaders have met and formed part of China's leaders' message of power, both military and diplomatic.
Chinese nation is the great nation that is never intimidated by any bullies and always values independence and forges ahead. In the past, when faced with critical struggles between good and evil, light and darkness, progress and reaction, the Chinese people rallied together to defy the enemy.
Well, we just had pictures come in moments ago of a bilateral meeting between President Putin and Kim Jong-un. Quite extraordinary to see there in a formal bilateral. If the pictures earlier of them all together at the broader celebrations weren't amazing enough to see, that's been taking place just moments ago. Well, our Asia correspondent, Helen Ann Smith, was at that parade and she filed this report.
This massive event only just finished. Already, almost immediately, they are starting to bust people out. But look, whatever you might think of the politics of what's happened here, the performance was absolutely remarkable. Just the precision, the accuracy, every boot, every turn of the head. In the stand we were in, you could literally feel them reverberating as the tanks rolled past, as the jets came overhead. And there was just this electric atmosphere of sort of anticipation and excitement from the crowds who were members of the public who were just in the area in front of where we were seated. It was a really spectacular show. Look, there's a couple of audiences, I think, for what's happened here today. One is absolutely the Chinese domestic audience. It is a crucial message that they are telling that, look, back 80 years ago, China was invaded and humiliated by Japan, but it was victorious, and just look what has happened since. China is now a major global superpower. It is on the rise, on the ascendancy, and by the way, that is thanks to, as they would say, the CCP and Xi Jinping. So loyalty and party dominance, absolutely a key theme here. Worth saying, actually, in some of the press briefings we had ahead of this event, the notion of loyalty to the party was actually listed as a more important objective than commemorating the end of the Second World War. So that shows just how important that is. But look, absolutely, this is not just about the domestic Chinese audience. Be in no doubt, there was big, important messages for the rest of the world as well. And the key message there is about Chinese power, Chinese might, Chinese ascendancy. And part of that is military power, of course, and that was pretty self-evident with the massive military sort of armory on show, the sort of hundreds of pieces of weaponry and equipment, some that have never been seen in public before, all of which have been Chinese-made. The notion of battle readiness was absolutely a theme that's been continuously pushed this week as well, and certainly the island of Taiwan will be listening very closely to that. But look, it's not just about military power, it is also about political power and the power of allegiances, because this event has been noteworthy, not just because of what has been here and what we've seen, but because of who has been here as well. And it was so notable the whole way through. The host, President Xi Jinping, flanked to his right by Vladimir Putin of Russia and to his left by Kim Jong-un of North Korea. And look, there has been some analysts speculating that the recent closeness of Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin, and Kim has sent troops to help Putin in Ukraine of late, there's been some speculation that that has actually irked China, who is the historic ally of those two. Not a sign of that here today. Very much the messaging that these three are in lockstep, and I think absolutely unashamed about the fact that these three are proposing, if subtly or perhaps unsubtly, a new type of global order. So look, the power of China really is the message to take away today. Some questions, of course, whether during a week where it's really portrayed itself as a convener of nations, a builder of bridges, a master of diplomacy, some questions, of course, about whether following that up with a huge military parade and flanked by leaders that many see as pariahs might be slightly undermining to that message, but it is there nonetheless, and perhaps only a country like China could pull it off.
China and Russia are joining hands, launching one of the world's largest joint military drills. And this comes at a time when tensions between the US and Russia, they have increased to heights unseen since the Cold War. Beijing and Washington are locked into a fierce trade war. More in this next report. Take a look.
missiles launch, destroyers slice through the sea, and fighter jets scream across the sky. This isn't war, not yet. But it's what war would look like if China and Russia fought side by side. And now they're practicing exactly that. Over thousands of troops, dozens of warships, submarines and aircraft from both countries gathered for massive joint military drills in the Sea of Japan, a region bristling with geopolitical tension. The drills include live fire exercises, anti-submarine operations, air defense, and simulated amphibious landings. Warships prowled the waves, while jets executed low-altitude formation strikes. Beijing and Moscow say the drills are part of the annual cooperation plan between the two militaries.
中俄两国海军
Both sides will conduct their 6th joint naval patrol in relevant waters of the Pacific. This is part of the annual cooperation plan between the Chinese and Russian militaries. It is not directed against third parties and is unrelated to the current international or regional situation.
组织第6次
But the optics are obvious. The timing, not accidental. These war games come as the U.S. deepens alliances in the Pacific, bolstering Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and Australia in what Beijing sees as a tightening net. Moscow, on the other hand, is locked in a grinding confrontation with NATO over Ukraine. China and Russia, sensing the strategic encirclement, are making their move loudly. The No Limits partnership between China and Russia, announced just before the Ukraine war, only keeps expanding. Euro Report, we on World is One.
This is the book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. It reads, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famine and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad with another edification through the power and spirit of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. First and foremost, Kal Halayam, La Allaha Yanawa, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kwadash, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Double salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, along with the very few but faithful Akwat, which is the sisters. We say Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. The title of this edification is "The World is Watching China." Alright? The world is watching China. Okay? And who is the cause of that? Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. Alright? He is the cause of it. Having the world watching China, keeping a keen eye on China by the way of their alliances that they have been making over the years and as of lately, and also their military achievements by the way of their highly advanced weapons, whether it be of the whether it be of nuclear weaponry, hypersonic missiles, newer and high-tech submarines, fighter jets, you name it. China is advancing. China is advancing. So this is a clear case pursuant to Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. Joel 3 and 9, where it reads, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." And this is what you're seeing. China, which was once a weak nation, all right, had been conquered by Japan, all right, during the days of World War II and what have you, so forth. But they have managed to come out victorious. You know, after that they had their civil war, and the Communist Party, they had won that civil war. And from thence they have only moved on from stride to stride, and now has become a powerful nation. Okay, not just economically, but also militarily. All right, with all the wealth that they have been gaining through their economics, you know, through their money and whatnot, so for their currencies, you know, the deals that they have been making over the years, they have been putting it into use in arming their military to the teeth. All right, they have made heavy investments in their military, in all their branches of their military. From this, they have the Space Force, they have the army, you know, they even have their version of the Marines, all right, the Coast Guard, the Air Force, the Navy, all right. They have been pumping a lot of money in their military, all right. And as you could see within that military parade, all right, the new batch of weapons that they have been unveiling, and what makes it so outstanding is that, you know, these weapons were homemade, Chinese made, all right. So basically, the money is circulating right within their own economy. So this is what you have now. And the world is watching. The world is watching because they are watching and observing that China ain't going to be no pushover. And then the alliances that they have been making with Russia, another superpower. All right? This is what it is. So what you are seeing is the Lord assembling the men of war. So let's continue. Verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai. Let the heathen be weakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge the heathen round about. All right, and this is the purpose why the Lord is arming these nations to the teeth, to bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is World War III, all right, which will be in the Middle East, okay, so-called Middle East, to rain judgment upon them. Let them slug it out, which will actually be their judgment, all right, which will end up culminating into the ultimate judgment upon America, all right, which is America, by the way of thermonuclear fire. Okay? It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. It says, multitudes in the valley of decision for the Lord, for the day of the Lord, Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushua, is near, in the valley of decision. This is what it is. This is what is coming. This is the reason why Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushua, alright, is arming these nations, leveling the playing field. No longer NATO and Babylon and what have you so forth has the superior advantage. No. Those days are long gone. Those days are long gone. We are living in a time where these nations is spending their money on their military and arming themselves to get ready for that great battle. Yeah? That great battle, that battle of Armageddon. Yeah? Armageddon, mountain of troops. There's where it is. Alright? There's what it is. And China is playing their part. They are playing their part. And the world is watching. The world is watching in shock and awe. And also fear. Shock and awe. And fear. Look at that. Just as Russia has their Poseidon missile. Alright, the Poseidon torpedoes, Slovakia. Alright, that is nuclear armed, nuclear powered to cause tsunamis that will sink entire nations and what have you so forth. China has the same. Now China has a weapon that is more advanced than the Dongfeng 41. The Dongfeng, if it was Dongfeng 41. Yeah, the Dongfeng 41. Alright, because the Dongfeng 41. It was one of the top missiles, top nuclear missiles, nuclear armed missile that they had within the Dongfeng class, the DF class, right? DF stands for Dongfeng, which translates in the English East Wind. Alright? But now what they have, the Dongfeng 5. The Dongfeng 5 which can go to anywhere in the world. Alright? Anywhere in the world to bring utter destruction. There is not a country that will be safe from the Dongfeng 5. Not one country. Alright? There is not a state in Babylon, America, that is safe from the clutches of the Dongfeng 5. Yeah? A weapon that is reaching 20,000 kilometers. Could strike anywhere in the world. That is a weapon to bring fear. That is a weapon to bring fear within its enemies. Fear upon its enemies. There is where it is. Along with other surface-to-air missiles and what have you so forth, hypersonic missiles that could take out destroyers, take out what they call this, aircraft carriers and what have you so forth. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Good news to hear, man. Yeah? The book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and 1. Isaiah 13 and 1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice of them. Shake the hand. that they may go into the gates of the noble. The nobles. Who's the nobles? These elites. They are the nobles. Alright? They are the nobles. What the Lord said, I have commanded my sanctified ones, alright, which is the prophets. Yeah? I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, which is the angels, even them that rejoice in mine highness. What it says, verse 4, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. This is what we are seeing. The nations, they are gathering together. These drills and these parades and whatnot. What, you think it's for show? You think it's for show? These drills and all these parades that is being carried out. These things ain't for no show. These things is preparation for the great day, the great battle of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yeah? The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai of hosts mustered the hosts of the battle. Yeah? They come from a far country, from the end of of heaven, all right, which is who? Russia. All right? Russia it is speaking about, but also China and North Korea and Iran. But who is leading the troop? Russia. Russia. Yeah? And the weapons of its indignation, which is what? Those missiles, those thermal nuclear missiles, those ICBMs, to destroy the whole land. That whole land is what? Babylon the Great, America. America. Holy, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain, as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel. Cruel. Both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Yeah? This is what is coming. War is coming. Alright? This is what is happening. War is happening. Who can see it? Well, it is what it is. But there is nothing that is going to stop the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai from being fulfilled. Because this is what he has spoken from the beginning. And this is what will happen as we are at the end. Yeah? For the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Why, Lord? Is it because of the nuclear fallout from the nuclear war that is about to take place? Oh yes. Oh yes, it is. And I will punish the world. Verse 11, and I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for the iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy, yeah, of the proud. Who is the proud? Who is thou most proud? Esau, Edom, yeah, to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible, all right, which is Esau. Because this is the reason why this judgment is coming upon the face of the earth. It's really and truly to bring down Esau, Edom. This is its purpose. This is the purpose of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Alright? Pursuant to Romans chapter 9. Yeah? And verse 16, 17, around there so. Yeah? Verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which is who? The Russians, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, which is the missiles. And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Little Gugu Gaga and all is going to utterly burn. Yeah, all these women that will be in labor and whatnot, so forth at that point, they're going to burn. They're going to burn. Their young ones is going to burn and perish. And perish, utterly perish. For this is the judgment of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai. Yeah? Their eyes shall not spare children. Yeah? They shall have no pity upon the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah? That's why when I go to Malachi chapter 4 and 1, it reads, for behold, the day of the Lord cometh, that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts. Yeah? That it shall leave them neither root nor branch, which is what? Descendants. This is what it is speaking about. Descendants. The Lord is going to utterly wipe off Esau off the face of the earth. Alright? The Lord is going to bring destruction upon this world, to bring Esau down, to bring America down. This is why the world is watching China. You feel Trump ain't watching China? You feel NATO ain't watching China? And how they are arming themselves to the teeth? They are watching. They are watching, and they are watching very closely. But what can they do? What else can they do but just watch? There's nothing they can do but only watch and watch as China is getting mightier and mightier and mightier. All for the purpose of Babylon's destruction. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 35. Jeremiah chapter 50 and 35, it reads, a sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, America, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dot. Yeah? A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed, they shall all be afraid. Yeah? A sword is upon their horses and upon their chariots. Yeah? Which goes into their equipments and what have you. Their arsenal also. Alright? To destroy all the air defense system and what have you, so forth. Yeah? To destroy the tanks, to destroy their ships, their submarines. Great destruction and death is about to take place on the land of Babylon. Yeah? And upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. And they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. For it is the land of graven images. Yeah? Their wicked sorcery and idolatry, and all the wickedness that they stand for and promote. It's all going to come to an end. Babylon is on its last leg. America is on its last leg. And they that are mad upon their idols, Therefore the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the island shall dwell there, and the owl shall dwell therein. All right? Nothing else but wild beasts and wild birds and whatnot is going to dwell on the land of America, because it is going to turn into a desert land. All the desert creatures is going to be inhabiting America, for her judgment, her wickedness, it has exceeded great and reached upon the heights of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So this is what is coming for America. And it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. As Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Behold, a people shall come from the north, Russia, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. Yeah? That's why you're seeing the alliances that is taking place. Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, Ethiopia, Turkey. Yeah? Along with all these militant groups, these Islamic militant groups throughout, along with these Islamic nations that is going to unite and shall destroy America and shall destroy Israel. Yeah? In its entirety. But the only difference is that the land of Israel is going to be built, is going to be restored. Yeah? Unlike America, will remain a monument for the earth to see, and for the earth to be in remembrance of the wrath of Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shai? This is what it is. They shall hold the bow and the lance. Yeah? They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses. Everyone put in array. Yeah? These missiles, they're going to be launched, and they are going to go to their target without disturbance, without interception. Yeah, without any interception. This is what it is. Like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon hath heard the report of them, and his hands wax feeble. Anguish take hold of him, and pangs as a woman in travail. Yeah? This is what it is. This is what it is. This is what is going to take place. This is what is going to happen without the shadow of a doubt. So I hope you all was edified through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad, signing out, saying Kahal Halayam, La Allaha Yanawa Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakaha Kodash, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders, a great millstone that rule well. Double salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching the truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, along with the very few but faithful Akwat. We say Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. And Wa Abad Babal.